The announcement of interim budget 2024-25 on February 1 will likely see the central government give another boost to welfare expenditure while still sticking to the fiscal consolidation path.
My reading is that the interim budget will probably focus more on enhancing the outlay or allocations for the existing welfare schemes rather than introducing some new schemes for the poor or the underprivileged sections of society. So I would say that yes, the government will be focused on the welfare schemes in the interim budget, but that will be more by way of enhancing allocations for those welfare schemes and not introducing new schemes.
Business Standards individual Dhasmana agrees that with elections approaching, the government will focus on welfarism in the upcoming interim budget. He also points out the fiscal consolidation challenge this will pose for the government.
The Modi government is likely to weigh economic costs of various social welfare schemes vis-a-vis their political benefits. Modi has already said that for him, four castes in India are farmers, women, poor and the youth. So there is likely to be enhancement in allocations for PM Kisan, various women schemes, pension for unorganized sector. Already the government has extended free food scheme for poor for the next 5 years. But enhancement of these schemes, the government will keep in mind fiscal math. They are likely to peg fiscal deficit somewhere around 5.2% of GDP. Nominal GDP growth is likely to be pegged at 10 to 10.5% in the interim budget, over 8.9% which is likely in the current financial year. 5.2% fiscal deficit of this would mean fiscal deficit of less than 17 trillion, which this means that fiscal deficit will be pegged lower than the current financial years, even in the absolute terms. So the government will have to curtail growth in capital expenditure. Capital expenditure grew by around 37% in the current financial year. This much hike won't be possible this time, and it could be around 6% or so, which was pegged in the interim budget for 2019-20.
The centre's post-COVID-19 fiscal consolidation plan calls for reducing the fiscal deficit to 4.5% of GDP by FY26. News reports have already emerged about the schemes that Dhasmana believes could see increased allocations. According to reports, the government could increase the allocation under the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi Yojana or PM Kisan scheme. The allocation per farmer could increase from 6,000 rupees annually to 8,000 rupees. The government could also increase provisions under the PM Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana and is considering raising the minimum pension amount under the Atal Pension Yojana, its flagship scheme for unorganized sector workers. One government official told Business Standard that a decision was likely either in the interim budget or outside of it. Also, the government is reportedly working on doubling the insurance cover under its flagship Ayushman Bharat health scheme to 10 lakh rupees, with an announcement to this effect likely to be made in the interim budget. While A.K. Bhattacharya agrees that the interim budget will make higher allocations to finance the enhanced welfare measures listed out by Dhasmana, he emphasizes that provisions will have to be made for the extended free food grain scheme in particular. In November, the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, the free food grain scheme, was extended for 5 years at an estimated expenditure of 11.80 trillion rupees. Both Bhattacharya and Dhasmana's assessment is also backed by foreign brokerage firm Jefferies, which has projected that the government will focus on boosting welfare spending in the upcoming interim budget. Excluding subsidies, the brokerage anticipates a 7 to 8% rise in the government's social spending in FY25 compared to 3% in FY24. While Dhasmana has already outlined the fiscal implications, enhanced welfare spending will also have an effect on how the government raises revenues.
Certainly, if the government provides more allocation for these welfare schemes, there will be some pressure on the revenue side. So it is likely that the government may increase allocations for the welfare schemes in the interim budget. Remember, it is being presented before the elections. But to finance those enhanced allocations, the government may indicate that what kind of non-tax measures are going to be taken in the year that is coming ahead. It could mean higher privatization, more disinvestment, asset monetization. On taxation side, I would say the government will not make any major announcements. There may be minor tweaks here and there. But as I said, that taxation revenue also relies a lot on the prevailing buoyancy of tax collections. So I think they will rather depend on tax buoyancy rather and instead of increasing or lowering tax rates.
For its part, Jeffries does not expect immediate tax hikes for raising revenues amid increased welfare spending, but measures such as higher capital gains tax are possible after the election. The brokerage also sees a potential increase in disinvestment after the polls. Business Standard's A.K. Bhattacharya concludes that the government will not compromise with its fiscal consolidation plan even as it increases welfare expenditure.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.
She has ambitions of becoming a brand. Business Standard.